All right, completely honest, I adored this arc so much. The ending sealed it for me. I was hesitant, I wasn't sure. The dark fairy tale vibes can be really hit or miss for me. But by God, I love this arc. It is my favorite so far of Berserk. Over that, even of the Golden Age, which is flawless, but something about the Lost Children arc just hit differently, and I adore this arc. So we left off with Guts trying to tell Jill to go back to the town, that this isn't a fairy tale, it's not a place for children, you need to go home, this isn't a path for you. Jill saying that she has no place back in her hometown. She turns back, she's scared of who she'll become, whether she'll be like her mother, who is just so passive and lets abuse happen to her and her child, or turn into her father and start abusing others. And she just wants to go find her friend Rosine. And she's talking about the egg of the Behelit, which she has now learned from Guts that you sacrifice people, someone you care about, to achieve this dream or goal from demons or angels, whatever the hell they are. And she's taking that information in of what Rosine has become. I didn't even mention the issue with Guts and his trauma going on with, as he's trying, he sent her away at first, but of course her and Puck ends up finding him, as he's being attacked at his campgrounds by flaming spirits of children. So I'm pretty sure he's seen the little demon child of his and Casca's, and then came the children that he massacred. This is going to get flagged, at the village, and in the burning barn, and it's just burning children's spirits that he has to fight all night long. And he's just like, I'm not babysitting you lot, and he's hacking them away. Why the hell does Jill and Puck see this and then think it's a good idea to approach him? Because he nearly kills her, and the distraction of having to stop and not kill her by accident leads the demon flaming children to try to attack her, which he has to shield her with his own body, gets burned. The two of them go over a cliff. They have to use Puck like a salt shaker again to heal his wound so he can keep going. And then it's like, go home. Just go home. And she's like, no, I'm seeing this through. I'm continuing down the path. So eventually, Guts leaves her again, and Rosine ends up showing herself to Jill. And she's in this fairy form. She's being all mystical and being like, come with me, Peter Pan, whimsical, off to Neverland, fairyland, where you'll never age, you'll never be cold, you'll never be hungry, you'll never be abused. Just come with me and I'll like show you the world. They fly around, and Guts, the mark on his neck bleeding, signals that Rosine is back. So he races back to the where he had just left Jill and attacks with everything he has, supposedly, not really, trying to kill Rosine, gets some of her wings, and ends up nearly stabbing Jill in the process. Keyword nearly. Puck is pissed at Guts for this because, hey, were you honestly trying to kill her too? You could have killed Jill. And he's like, I would have if it would have took her, the creature down. Puck can't handle this and says, you monster, how could you do that to an innocent child? And leaves him. Guts then questions, why the hell did I miss? Was I holding back? And that's a theme that comes back and back repeatedly throughout this. So Guts is giving over to that monstrous side of him, but there's something internally that's preventing him from really truly putting Jill in harm's way completely, or to an extent Rosine as well, because even when he has an opportunity later to kill her, once with a cannon at point blank range, he still misses at the cost of nearly putting his own life in danger. So there's something in him that he is holding back for these children that he sympathizes with, but then he also has like Berserker mode, where I don't really think he's holding back much at all. But at the end, Rosine does take Jill and flies her away, and it's a very much a, look how beautiful this area is. This is a view that can only be seen by things with wings, by the birds, by the elves, by the fairies. Not something that humans can see. And Jill is very much taken in by this Wonderland kind of experience. They go to the Misty Valley. Again, beautiful. And with all the hardship that Jill has in her home life, it makes sense that she's not immediately, you monster, get away from me. She's taken in by everything that's happening. Puck, having left Guts, is riding on a raven slash crow and ends up coincidentally passing over Misty Valleys before he gets kicked off the bird for plucking out its feathers on top of his head. Unsure. Was he intentionally going to the Misty Valley to save Jill? I should have reread that section. Or is it something that's bringing him back to Guts? The same way in the Golden Age, fairy, elf, dust, magic, whatever, kept showing up to save Guts when he desperately needed it, and most likely being Puck specifically, considering he was with the traveling merchants? Or was he actively already going to find Jill and knew to go in that direction, was just hitching a ride with the bird? I feel like something specific is drawing him to Guts. But he thinks about how he doesn't really know anything about Guts. He doesn't know why he hates Rosine so well. He doesn't know anything about the Golden Age and what happened during that time period. Guts has never opened up to him. Obviously, this man has trust issues. But I really like all that. So he ends up getting kicked off the crow, raven, whatever, and falling down into the Misty Valleys. He sees the elves playing like soccer or something like that. He's like, oh, I should join in. No, I shouldn't. I can't join in. I want to join in. No, I shouldn't. And then he goes and joins in, and the elves are very hesitant of what's going on, but they get pulled away. And then Puck realizes it wasn't like a little ball they were playing with. It was a human eyeball, which is disturbing. So he eventually finds Jill, goes to her, is like, oh god, I had to like kill 13 people to come on in here. I'm here to save you. Let's get out of here. These things are monsters. And Jill, very conflicted, is talking about how, is it really so bad here? They're just surviving. Wolves hunt and kill humans. It's just like nature of life. There are wars everywhere. If I go home, it's just more abuse. Here, I'm safe. I'll be fed. It's warm. I won't be cold. I won't be hurt. So, like, should I really leave? And Puck is just like, they're monsters. We have to run. And then we get a very firm, we already knew these things were monsters. We get that confirmed as they start playing war. And it is disturbing as hell. I hated the little wasp creatures back near when we were in the barn, but now it's a whole different ballgame. They have formed two factions, and their form of playing is to attack and kill and eat each other. They are stabbing them. The adult attack is disturbing to points I'm not talking about right here. You can't make me. My god, it is on the nose, very heavy-handed in how monstrous this is and what they're acting like, and I do sometimes like just being hit over the head with the themes of this and like, yeah, monstrous. So, by god, and the art style, how these were depicted, the use of just pure black imagery with little highlights to show you what's going on. Oh god, I will never get tired of complimenting the art of this manga. It is brutal and gorgeous, and I can never get over the talent it took to draw this. Oh my god. So Jill, seeing the brutality, like I don't even think has been depicted on page in Berserk before. Like this was dark. Especially be considering since they're killed, they turn back into humans afterwards. So it's just children across a field, murdered. Oh god. She runs, and the evil little wasp demons are just like, she's not a friend. She doesn't want to play with us. Oh, we must attack the humans. She's not really our friend. But Rosine brought her. I thought she was a friend. She's not a friend. They're chasing after her. And you get to the big giant tree where they find a bunch of egg sacs, and one gets popped open, and it's a decaying child as they are being morphed into what will become the elves. And Rosine explains, you'll go into one of these cocoons as well, and you'll be transformed, and I'll make you different. I'll make you more powerful, more beautiful. You won't be like the others. And she's like, they're killing each other. It's like, there'll be more to come. They're replaceable. You're not, though. I promise. You'll love it here. And hypnotic whispering. Thankfully, Puck snaps her out of it. And thank God, Guts shows up, proving he is a monster, which we need, and sets the place ablaze. He's smashing the cocoons, he's killing the elves, and just torches it all. It is, the imagery, gorgeous. Did I mention I love the artwork of Berserk? 'Cause it's beautiful. Beautiful's the wrong word, but it is. So Jill, watching this, and she's like, who's the monster here? Because he is terrifying. I think compares him to a forest spirit, but not so kind. And, Guts, first we use a child as bait. Then there's the whole bunch of dead elves that turned out to be children. That wasn't his fault. He didn't know. And now he does know, though, but it's needed to take them down, because I feel like they're not really the children anymore. They just have the souls corrupted or using the bodies or something like that. He uses the fire to fight Rosine and the other fairies. So when the fairies attack, or the elves attack, and they're on him, he leaps into the fire to burn them all, and then uses a sword to slash open one of the cocoons and drenches himself with, I'm assuming, blood to put it out. And that is, it worked. It worked. Rosine tries to attack him, saying, how dare you hurt an elf? I will fight you for all you've done, but I'm just going to take Jill and go. She's the only thing that matters to me, and the connection that they have, how the hell did this mangaka make me appreciate this villain who destroyed the Band of the Hawk and traumatized Rickett the way that she did? Technically, it was the one that she was with, but still, I'm blaming her too. You see her flashbacks with her parents, as we learn she had ran away from home to find the elves, to find a place she belonged, because she was abused at home for situations that was not her fault, as her father was likely one of the men who assaulted her mother, and her possible father, that we don't really know who the biological father is abusive jerk. And when they find her in the field, she probably does just want to go home. She's been there for days. She's crying, she's cold, she's probably hungry, she's abandoned or ran away. They find her, and he, of course, just beats her and her mother for all the trouble that she's caused, the harvest that's been postponed, and all the work they have to do to make up for this. And she's bleeding, watching her mother be assaulted by her father, and what happens? The blood gets on the palette. And then, of course, we know what happens. We don't need to see it. So I can't really hate this traumatized child that was just looking for an escape. And that's the thing. It is all very much this fantasy world that they have created is escapism from the brutality of their lives and the reality of their lives. So to see Guts attacking her, knowing what she's gone through and knowing he has to stop her, it really hits hard, and I adore it. Guts, of course, has to use Jill as bait, because he loves using children as bait in this arc. She is susceptible to the fire and everything that's happening, so Rosine has to go in to try to save her. He's waiting in the flames to ambush her. The flames is burning away, and the wind currents are moving the dust, the poison dust that she has away from him, and also she can't get to full speed within the cave. So it was all a really good plan, but there was a part of him that was also looking out for Jill, because when he was attacking Rosine, he did end up cutting one of the eggs to splash on Jill to get the fire from away from her, but it also dropped a corpse on her. She's very traumatized. At the end of the fight, Rosine is going like supersonic. It's messing up Guts' hearing, and he goes with the plan of her spear thing going through his good arm, being blocked by the metal arm, allowing him to grab and go up into the air with her. She's saying, oh, this is great, now I get to watch you die, not realizing he had a cannon in his arm. So cannon goes and explodes, and Guts is still questioning, like, why am I going easy on her? Why? Because I missed. Like, I do think he is very sympathetic to her story, but then he has to, like, push it all down, lock it all away, full berserk mode to try to take her down. Meanwhile, the Holy Knights from many, many chapters ago came across the village where Jill lives, and they see them with the mass grave of burnt children, because it's Berserk and that's what happened. And they're like, what happened here? And the priest, as well as Jill's father, explains the situation. And they start talking about this black swordsman that they've been looking through. All throughout the lands, there's been more brutality, more death than what is normal. And they're following the lead of a black swordsman, who they don't even know if they really exist, or if it's just a fable and myth and story that the townsfolk have put out. But Jill's father, in wanting to relive his glory days, agrees to, or volunteers to bring them along the path of where the Misty Valley is, where they think Guts and Jill have gone. So in the middle of the fight, Rosine bleeding and dying, Guts trying to kill her, they end up showing up. Now, they believe Guts to be possibly the Hawk of Darkness or something like that. And I'm wondering if they're confusing him for Griffith, or if there's something else to the prophecy. If there's a new demon of hell, whatever, God's hand, plus the Hawk of Darkness, both, I feel like they think he's Griffith. So Jill's father shoots Guts in the leg and delays him getting to Rosine. They both end up having separate. I'm not even sure what happens to Rosine. It's so sad. I feel like she falls in the water. She's trying to fly away, saying she's reverted back to childhood, saying, I should get home now. I wonder what's for supper. My parents will be worried about me. They're going to be angry that I'm late. She's really like just gone back to who she was before, and as she's passing away. Jill's father is still pissed at her and blames her because the holy knights that he wants to continue on with told him, hey, you did good, now stay with your daughter. That's all that should matter to you. And he doesn't care about his daughter. He wants to go off with them. So he's angry at Jill that he has to stay with her, even though he's pathetic and can't keep up. Jill basically calls him pathetic and runs off to find Guts. And this is when it really sealed it for me. So she asks Guts to take her with him, that there's no place for her back home, and wants to go with him. And he's like, look around, and demons behind him. There is no paradise here. I am not your savior. If you want to come with me, it will be to a battlefield. You will not be safe. This is not a place for you. Go back to your reality. Go back to your own battlefield. And the idea that like children can use a fantasy as escapism, but have to return to reality at the end. I do like that, and she has every right to be completely traumatized, but choosing to, I feel like it could have, especially when the blood and corpse dropped on her and she's screaming, she could have just like fallen into that darkness, gone mad. But when she leaves off, it does feel hopeful to her. Like she feels like she can find a way to change her circumstances, will fight to change it. So I don't think she's going to accept becoming her mother or her father. She'll make the changes where she can. Puck, of course, is going to find Guts. They go off together, saying he can't just leave him to be by himself. And I just really loved this arc. And like I said, dark fairy tales, normally they're very hit or miss. But when they hit and when they're done to my preference, I love them so very much. So the Lost Children arc is definitely one of my favorites here in Berserk. What else? I'm sure I skipped over some things. Guts attacking the men in the forest that had been turned into bugs and slaughtering all of them, and just talking about how essentially you're not trapped in here. I'm not trapped here with you. You're trapped here with me. When they said you'll never escape us, he's like, why would I want to escape you? I'm going to slaughter you all. I'm not going to leave one of you alive. And then, of course, they revert from the bug form back to the human form, and it's the Holy Knights who come across this massacre and battlefield, talking about how the Black Swordsman must have an army with him with a cannon, which he does have a cannon. But they're looking through, it's like, no, this was all like blade work, and it could very well be the work of one person. So I love that. Oh, I didn't even mention, as Rosine is dying and Jill comes up to her and still sees her as her friend, or she's kind of reverted back to her old self in a way. Rosine saying like the elves were never here, we're not true elves, I was lying. That fairy in the story who was an outcast wasn't real, it was all a story. Jill shows her Puck, and it's like, no, the elves are real. Here, look, here's one. She gets to see a real elf for the first time, really, even though they kind of met at the village, but she's kind of crazy. And the smile on her face, like the peace that she felt when Puck was saying, I don't know why my people left, but I can sense that they were here. I felt like that end moment with her, like, gave her some true peace, and I love that. Yep, so I think that's mostly everything I want to say about the Lost Children arc. In the end, the themes of like Guts being like more of a monster than even the monsters he's fighting, and people saying like, why do you hate these creatures so much? And obviously he has his reasons, but then he still has his sympathetic heart. Deep on probably subconscious level inside him. I like the introduction of the Holy Knights and how they're going to play into the story. I don't know if, I feel like it's going to be a miscommunication at first. So they think Guts is actually Griffith, and when they realize, oh no, he's not the demon, it's actually this other guy, and maybe they can work together to take him down. Then some conflicting ideologies about God, and Guts being like, if there's a God, he's dead because too much terrible things in the world. Not gonna lie, I really thought Jill was gonna die by the end of this, but I'm happy we ended hopeful. And I think that might be another theme, because, like I said, in the Black Swordsman arc, I remember the disfigured guy whose family was killed and wanted revenge. Puck talking about how isn't it better to like live for the future rather than like die for revenge? And Rickett saying at the beginning of this arc, talking about how why don't you stay here with me and Casca, like live with us rather than out searching for revenge. So there's always this theme of letting go. So when Jill was talking about like why do you hate Rosine so much, why like he's in full berserk mode, why do you hate her so much? And maybe if there ever came a point where Guts could let go of that hatred, he could find peace, but there is no letting go. Too much has happened, so he needs to keep fighting because the rage that he has is all that keeps him going. One foot in front of the other is only possible because of his hatred. And back in the Black Swordsman arc, with I keep forgetting her name, the black-haired girl. I loved her, cute kid whose father went crazy and had a Behala and almost sacrificed her. It's easier to feel anger than fear and pain, or like she was full on suicidal until Guts like triggered that anger in her. So I just really like this story. Okay, that is all I got. The cat is getting into trouble, so talk to you later. Bye.